Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Bob Matthews. Everything going on with the Local 53. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss an episode of it. And it is a big week for us. The NFL draft is just 2 days away now, and it's a big day out in Ashburn because off-season team activities have started. That's right. The good old OTAs officially started today. There's not a whole lot that is going to happen with these things. It's mainly a lot of conditioning and classwork and working on concepts and things like that. Nobody's really going out on the field and doing anything major. In fact, a lot of the players, especially those at the bottom of the roster, have been at the facility pretty much nonstop working out this offseason. But it is good to see most of, if not all of the vets coming back to start to get to work on the new season. As a matter of fact, the Commanders sent out a short video of Jaden Daniels not walking but running into the front door of the facility early this morning. I don't know if Jaden was the first one in there or not, but he definitely looked fired up and ready to go once he did get in. Again, OTAs will be going on this month. They'll have a rookie mini camp once the draft is over. They'll have a veteran mini camp then, along with some more OTAs in May, followed up with the full-fledged mini camp in June before everybody goes their separate ways for summer vacation, before getting into training camp, which is going to be here before we know it. The other big news today is that for the first time in a while, Adam Peters met with all of the media, the beat reporters, the folks that cover the team on a regular basis. We were looking in via Zoom, and not a whole lot is said, especially not 2 days before the draft. Our friend Sam Fortier from the Washington Post had a great line on Twitter. I think he said something to the effect of, they held a press conference and they said things. It was Peters and Lance Newmark, the assistant general manager. I'll hit some of the highlights, although, again, it's not like either one of them are going to say a whole lot. Really interesting question was asked about the folks in last year's draft class, and are they expecting to see big jumps from them in production, specifically Johnny Newton and Jordan McGee. And both Peters and Newmark said that, yeah, those are two guys they are counting on heavily this year. They said both have, again, been in the facility for most of the offseason working on stuff and are really excited to see where they are at once the rubber starts hitting the road here. As far as moving up in the draft or moving down, what do you expect Adam Peters to say? He says, yeah, sure, they're open to it. He had a bit of a funny line saying if Abdul Carter's available at 27, he thinks they would probably make a move to get him. Abdul Carter's an edge rusher from Penn State, and he's not going to be there at 27. In fact, most people think he is going in the top 5 or so. He also said that he feels the roster is at a point where they can go anywhere. Now, we all expect anywhere to actually be edge rusher early in the draft. But again, if you listen to what he's saying, he says that, personnel-wise, because of where things are now, not, in no small part to the fact that they have a franchise quarterback, it doesn't have to meet up perfectly. If they see a guy that meets a scenario as far as how much they like him and maybe they weren't expecting him to be there, they could go a position that you may not think of. The only thing that he said that I found really interesting and telling, when it comes to the selections this week, keep an eye on guys that were former team captains at their school. Seems like Peters really likes taking former college team captains. He feels that they're natural leaders. They're going to come in, they're going to buy into the culture, and they're going to help keep everybody accountable. So it would not surprise me if some, or maybe even all of the 5 picks that they have currently, wind up being big-time leaders on their former teams. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. We've been looking at the draft and different groups throughout the last couple of weeks, and we're going to go interior lineman today. Now, this is not a huge need for the Commanders right now, and it's also not a really deep and talented class this year. But again, like we've talked about, if a certain guy falls in a certain place and he's available and the front office really likes him, maybe this matches up. And the reason I say that is because of the first guy we're taking a look at, which is Tyler Booker, a guard, 6'5", 325-pound guard, played at Alabama last year. Does have some foot speed and balance issues that kept him from being a blue chip prospect. This is, and again, I'm reading off of the scouting notes, but competitive and a high football IQ and a good prospect for a man gap heavy run scheme. Again, you can never have too many good offensive linemen. That's where things are won in the trenches. He's they say on the pros, he's a well-built guard with NFL size, good weight distribution that gives him a ton of power, great leg drive to move defensive linemen against their will, strong hands, and impressive recovery ability. When you look at the minuses against him, his balance can be off a little bit at times. Sometimes he's a little too much on his heels. He's got below average foot speed. He can get caught behind when a defender crosses his face. But again, those are things that are coachable. And as far as, when you look at him on the big board, he looks like he's, somewhere around the top 70. So if the Commanders can get him in the third round, well, not the third round, if they acquire a third round pick, maybe that's a guy that they would look at. Again, when they can go best available, it's something to keep an eye on. Finally, the other guy I want to take a look at is Jared Wilson, another SEC guy. This guy, Jared Wilson from Georgia, 6'3", 310-pound center. Now, I know Tyler Biotish is on a long-term deal. He's still got either 2 or 3 years left on it. But Wilson might be a guy you take a look or two at. He did start just 1 year at Georgia, but they say he's got all of the skills necessary to be a starting center in the NFL. And if the offensive line is one of the most important parts of the organization, the center is the most important part of the offensive line because that's the guy that is making all the calls. We saw what a difference Biotish made this year. Wilson is seen as having excellent movement skills, not just in a straight line, but in a shuffle as well. Flexible hips and hamstrings, that means he stays low in his stance. Good coordinated footwork, quick hands getting up inside of the pass rushers, and good anchoring technique. Doesn't possess imposing strength, and as a one-year starter shows some lack of anticipation with pass rush setups. But, very important here, what are those two things, and we've been talking about it with so many prospects, when you look at the cons, what are those two things telling you? Those are two things that are fixable. You can get stronger. You can work on your anticipation with good coaching. If it's a guy that can be coached up, and those are the weaknesses that he needs some coaching up, well, that's something that I definitely think the coaching staff might take a look at. Again, if he falls in the right place. All right, that's going to do it for us today. More OTA coverage tomorrow, as by tomorrow we will be just 24 hours away from the 2025 NFL Draft. We'll see you then. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And, as always, remember, like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.